one?
Everyone?
This one?
Yeah, Alex.
No, this one. Right next to me. You okay?
Okay, guys, we've got Ali May here, who's been a patient at the Royal Children's Hospital. So we'll just probably start. Ali, do you want to just tell the guys what you've been in the Royal Children's Hospital for, how old you are, and your journey to here?
Yeah, so hi, my name is Ellie May Jury. I was diagnosed with an illness called cystic fibrosis when I was 6 months old. I'm 12 years old, and yeah.
And your experiences at the Royal Children's, do you want to just describe how?
Yeah, so the illness I have, it infects my lungs and digestive system. I've been through a lot there, go there around 3 times every year, but they just make the hospital such a better place, and it's such a nice place and hospital, and yeah.
Pretty important place for you, isn't it, in the family?
Yeah.
Now, were you school captain?
Yeah, I was school captain last year. Yeah.
What was that like?
Scary, talking in front of lots of people, but yeah, it was such a great experience and love public speaking and stuff, so
Do you want to do the rest, if I give you those stats, do you want to do the rest of the press conference?
I mean, sure.
Who's your favourite kangaroo?
Well, it's such a great team and I don't really have any favourites. Everyone plays so well and yeah.
What about your sister?
My sister loves Jai. Yeah, big Jai fan.
Did she get to meet him?
Yeah, she got to meet him. I got to too. He's such a nice guy.
He is, he's very cool.
Thanks, Ali.
Very cool.
All right, guys, football questions.
David, what do you say to the boys after a performance like that?
Oh, what do I say? Well, I haven't spoken to them yet, from that side of things. So it's not only the players, I think it's our fans. We just need to be calm. We're on a journey. We understand that, there's hiccups along the way, and yep, today's a bigger one than maybe what we've had, but I've been through this 2 or 3 times before. So, we just need to be really composed on where we're going and understand that, we're not going to deviate off the way that we're going to play. They made a commitment today to come with energy. I thought for a reasonable portion of the day they did. I think when you play such a well-drilled, team like that, it becomes overwhelming, at a point in time. And I think for a younger group that we've got, that's a real challenge, to sort of retain that energy and that effort around the ball. So hence you end up with something in the last quarter that is unpalatable, but it's understandable.
How do you sort of, move on from it's such a big loss so early in the year?
Yeah.
How do you what's the strategy to go forward from for your fans and for your players as well?
Well, as I said, so Brizzy 17 and 18, we were 1-10 after 11 games. We're 3 weeks in. We understand there's a fair bit in front of us and the way that we want to go. The turnovers, really hurt us today, so the ability for us to manage the ball better in those sort of scenarios. So we'll continue to pick out the areas and the growth points of the game that we like, and then we're going to keep, chasing in that regard. So that's where we're at. But again, we're 3 weeks in. I know the result doesn't look great, but we have to really maintain that calmness about how we go about our business.
How concerned are you that they tied so quickly after just 3 weeks, that you've got 19 weeks to go, that this could get worse?
I don't think it'll get worse. Come off 2 6-day breaks. We've had some injuries. We need to get some senior guys back in the team. We lost 2 senior guys today, hammy and an ankle. Jed's second game back, Polly's second game back. So I think what ends up happening, what we're seeing at the moment with the game being quicker, there's more effort needed in the game. And when you're playing against a quick team, when you don't get it right, like the last 2 weeks we've chased a lot and it gasses you. And so when you try to move into offensive mode, I think there's some poor decisions based on not having enough energy in the tank. Like you make poor decisions when you're actually a little bit gassed. And therefore I think you use a lot of that when you're actually trying to defend, an oncoming locomotive that's coming at you.
That Markey disallowed goal in the second quarter, I think if it went through, it would have been back to 5-point mark.
Yeah.
But then, the next 12 goals, I think.
Yeah.
How flattening was that moment for the group?
Well, we see that's a really good learning point for us, that we can't let that flatten us. You could almost hear that, with us, with that young group. we thought we'd really worked hard this week to rectify the areas that we needed to from last week. We sort of built that energy early. We thought we attacked the ball. We wanted to sort of target contested ball in the first quarter was the area that we want. We didn't quite get that number right. But that's what tends to happen, those elements where we seem to have to work hard to get scores on goal at the moment. And when you do and you miss them, I think, we have to be more resilient to keep going back and just keep coming.
What can you do to bring about a quick increase in competitiveness?
Well, quick. I don't know. I don't want to go quick, Pete. I want to go sustained. We want to bring some understanding as to what this level really needs. Again, having experience that we've got a range of different areas at the moment. So our senior guys are working their backsides off to be as competitive as they can. They're trying to help, the younger crew. I think we had 7 or 8 under 21. I think we had 6 under 21 and 3 under 19 today. So they're trying their hardest to get that competitive level then. But with the rotations, we don't have options all the time. We don't have a long midfield at the moment. So where it starts in the middle and then sort of spreads to your edges. So we just have to keep working it at training. We just have to keep getting the balance right around trying to keep those guys in there for as long as we can, but then they need a spell. So, but there comes with it as an expectation that everyone's got to compete, whether you're Will Phillips playing his first game or whether you're Goldie playing his 200 odd. So
you said it's 3 weeks in, but each game has been a 50-plus point loss.
Yeah, it has.
Do you what's the approach with the players? Are you stern with them, or are you still sort of, gently in this phase of your, early career? How do you sort of approach
my early career in my early 50s?
No, early career at North. Yeah, 3 games.
Yeah, well, again, the board's really clear. We're hoping that our fans are clear and we understand their frustration. We're on that journey with them. So I think there's probably 3 areas that we tend to look at. So one is we look at game plan, trying to make sure we can be really clear on how we want to play the game and the style that we want to play. And days like today, it's hard to work that out. I get that. Then I think there's the attitude that we play with, and then there's the mentality that you need to bring. So they're the 3 areas. The one that annoyed me the most last week was our mentality. I thought their mentality was better today, but I think in the end we just got overrun. As I said, that pressure builds, and I thought Josh Bruce did a great job of kicking 10 goals. Like, seriously, it's a fantastic effort, even though we were on the other side. And we tried a few things on him, but they're probably the 3 areas that we'll continue to try to grow and pick apart and get better at as we go. It'll be small wins for us as we go, and that small wins will build into larger wins, and then those larger wins will turn into wins. That's the process. I mean, if you think you go back and have a look at a lot of clubs previously as to how they've built, their stability and built their success going forward, this is the path that we know works.
You have an update on Jed and Jarrett?
Yeah, so Polly looks like he's, I don't know the severity, but the same sort of hammy that he had pre-season, just sort of coming into the AAMI series. Jed had an ankle, tried to retape it, and we did the hop test, and he was no good. So they're the 2. So I don't know. We've got a 9-day break, so I think Jed might be close. I'm not sure about Polly. We might have to just get him rescanned, but hopefully we might have a couple back in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Well, Corey was in today on crutches. Not sure. Anywhere from 2 to 4, maybe, depending on how that infection sort of settles. And then, it's to do with antibiotics and that type of thing. So 2 to 4, I think, for him. But I think Luke will be back next week.
How tough is the conversation to tell Lockie Young when he's come up against his former side and he's going to give up 15, 20 centimetres as playing a third tour? Yeah,
well, I think what we were trying to do, mate, was swing Goldie back early, just to sort of try to help that. We knew that was going to be potentially a bit of an issue for us. We looked at a couple of other options, within our list, but yeah, it's tough. It's a tough day for Locke, playing against his old team, under those sort of circumstances and playing with someone that's fairly large. What doesn't help is when you don't have ball pressure up around the ground, as you know. I mean, you've seen enough footy to know that if you lack competition around the ball and it scoots through like it did today, yeah, it's really hard. We could have had Goldie playing next to him and he probably still would have marked a few. You know, it was coming through that clean and that crisp.
Spoke about the turnovers before.
Yeah.
David Giniak had 10 today. What did you make of his performance, and what's the message to a player like him now into his, he's been around a little while now, into his fourth year of footy?
Well, I think that, I hate going over sort of old grounding him, but like they're good lessons. Like we had him pitched again against a couple of midfielders. He had a bit of time with Bont. We had him under reasonable control, but then, where do you go next? McRae, Libba, from that type of thing. So Luke probably needs to work on his release out of that stoppage a little bit more. He really is keen to get better in that sense there. I think his effort on defence at times, we're working with him as well. So I think he's really trying on that side of things. He's frustrated, but he wants to get better, and so do our midfielders. Our midfielders need to be able to. Well, that's why we're trying to play Thomas in there, Stevenson in there. Powell has got some toe and can move. When we don't, we've got to get more spread out of that midfield, particularly when we don't have possession of the ball.
With all the chatter around the Good Friday game this week, it's irked the club quite a bit, but are you concerned that a performance like that on the day might make the AFL consider changing it up? Maybe, but we still fight to keep it. We really respect the day, and for having causes, and with Ellie Mae and her family, what the Children's Hospital offered is phenomenal. And to be privileged enough to be part of that day, we would fight pretty hard to retain it. Would it be disappointing if they did decide, obviously, to well, as I said the other day, if they're going to do that, they should look at all marquee games. I can't say that because that probably wouldn't go down too well, but I'll be very annoyed if that was the case and we don't get as equal share as every other club that hasn't had their, spot in the sunlight when all these marquee games are on. So I think that would only be fair.
Should supporters expect a response next week, David, or is
I expect a response every week, Pete. Like that's what we've got to come to play every single week. We can't be inconsistent for our fans. We can't be inconsistent to ourselves that we pick and choose when we want to come and play. Like I'm annoyed. I want to win. As I said last week, I'm not here to just have 12 months of development. So the expectation, if you're playing this level of footy, you come to play every single week. And if you don't come, that comes with consequences, either in selection or at the end of the year. So I think our players have got a pretty clear idea of what that actually looks like. Now, we haven't been able to deliver that, so we've got to go away and assess that ourselves as a coaching group and as a group of players, and remain really calm and really clear on what we've got to come and deliver. And at the moment, the last couple of weeks, we haven't delivered what we'd like to, for sure.
So what becomes your focus over the next 9 days to ensure the Adelaide game is better than that?
What's our focus? Well, we need to go away and just assess where the group is, talk to them around what they thought of the game. We've got some experienced guys out there that I'm sure will have a clear idea of how it actually looked out there for them. As I said, I think what tends to happen is when you get those periods of time, the leaders are trying to lead, and they can be a little guilty of trying to do too much at times. I think their intention's really good, but then we've got to get some more robustness around our style and the way that we play. So I still think that the aspect for us is level of competitiveness, not turning the ball over. We think we actually create reasonable offensive shape, believe it or not. There's some times there where we actually get in reasonable positions with the ball, and tonight we turn it over poorly, really poorly. So over 100 points on turnovers. I don't know does anyone know is that the best?
Yeah, up there.
Yeah, I would have thought we were up there. It's not a nice marker to win for the night, but we understand, and we look, as I said, we share the frustration, but we're on a path. It was really clear when I sat with the board early on that this is the path we want to take. It's the only path to take.
Thanks,
have you got any other comments?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
You can't help me out?
Do you think you'll beat the Crows next week?
Yes, definitely.
Thanks.
Good girl. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Well done, mate.